Hey guys, in the fast lane here. In this video, I'm going to be ripping apart this turbocharger because I'm switching out to a top mount. So I'm going to get it all out of there and I'm going to test fit everything. So in this video, I'm going to be test fitting and you guys get an opportunity to see how things fit and maybe purchase some of the same parts I got. And this will just help you get a better idea of what you're looking for. I'm just doing a semi-port, kind of coming in here and just grinding down all the rough edges and everything so that they can be smooth when it goes in. Here's the port job. It's not a crazy port, just kind of ported the inside a little bit. You can see right there. It's not too bad, and then I went on the flange side and got some of the burrs out of there, so it's a lot smoother and opened it up a little bit. The one thing I don't like about this manifold is where the bolt holes are right here, they actually indented it, which is ridiculous. I don't know why they did that, but on the plus side, this hole is much bigger than the exhaust on the head, so it's quite a bit larger where the bottom of this piece ends, where the bolts go, or the nuts. That's actually how wide the head is. So I got the manifold all ported out and hand smooth with some pretty abrasive sandpaper, and it smoothed it out. It kind of grinded down some of the castings, make it look a little smoother. Then I got some grill paint, 1200 Fahrenheit, so this should hold up. They got 2000 Fahrenheit, but this is what I just had in the garage, so I'm just going to paint it. Makes it look a lot better. It dries a flat black, and it'll resist it from any kind of rust or anything like that. So I'm just going to paint this up and get ready to put it on there. Here's what it looks like all painted up. As you can see, it's really glossy, and then when you let it dry, it turns to this flat black, kind of like a chalkboard black. And it's pretty nice stuff, and like I said, it'll keep it from rusting. If you guys are wondering what this stuff is, it's the Rust-Oleum, the high heat, and 1200 Fahrenheit, says it right there. Also on the back it says allow 1 hour to dry before you heat it up. Like say you're going to start the car up and heat up the exhaust manifold. This stuff actually starts to harden and get like a hard powdery after a while. It's not like a powder coat, but it gets a lot more protective when you heat the engine up. I'm actually going to save this oil because it probably only has like 50 miles on it. I'm going to filter it when I'm all done with it. There we go. Oil's getting pretty expensive nowadays. I'm just going to take a rubber band from a pack right here, throw this clean rag over it, push it down, and then just stretch the rubber band over it. This is just going to filter any of the bad material, maybe gasket that's in there, and it'll work pretty good. Now that the oil's all drained, it's pretty much just zip all these 10mm nuts and bolts off, and then the pan's going to come right off. And when I'm towards the end, I leave like 1 or 2 in there on each side, and then slowly hand loosen them so it doesn't pop you in the face. Now the whole pan should come right down. And this is the crappiest rubberish gasket I've ever seen. It's this junk Felpro. I mean, look at how rubbery this gasket is. I don't know if you guys can see it yet, but I'll go ahead and peel it off. But it's just so flimsy, and it's just, look at that. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Almost feels like a gel rubber. So it just squishes out, and just garbage. Absolute garbage. Shame on Felpro for designing a gasket like this. I just took a rag and I cleaned all around and dried it out where the gasket's gonna go. Now I got some Permatech Ultra Gray RTV. If you haven't seen where you need to put it, there's where the oil pump and the rear main seal come together. They meet the block, and there's a line, and you always got to put a nice new fresh coat of RTV. So if you haven't seen where you got to put it, go check out my how to put a oil pump on. The video will show you exactly where you need to put this RTV. There we go. Now that should stay like that, hopefully. If not, I'm going to get a little RTV, and I usually just stick it up under there so it holds the gasket if I don't quit getting hit by oil in the head. Alright, so we got a little problem right here where it doesn't want to stick, so I'll just run a little bead. Nothing crazy. And it'll hold the gasket on there. There we go. So it just keeps it in place, lined up for the holes. We're going to come up like this. There we go. Look at that, like butter. We're just going to take our longer bolt, so I'm just going to get it started so that I don't have to sit here holding it all day long. Alright, so all we're going to do now is just put all the bolts in. This isn't really a how-to, this is just kind of, you know, I'm just showing you on the way what I'm doing, but I have other how-to videos that cover all this stuff if you guys are interested. I got the pan in, I got it all torqued in there. If you can see right here, the gasket, it doesn't come out hardly at all. My other one would just squish right out. So it's just cheap rubber. But it looks pretty good, and up in here is where my 90 is. It goes straight up. Next I'm going to be adjusting where my pipe or the return line is going to go. Sorry for the noise of the fan, guys. It's just really hot out, so I'll talk a little louder. Right here I got the elbow, and I'm just going to take my stainless braid 10-an hose, and you got to compensate because it's got to go in the hose a little bit. So you want to add like another inch and a half to where you're going to cut it off at both sides, so make it double it. So we got one there, and if I'm going to come like this, let's see here, I got my line drawn, and I'm going to take some electrical tape. You always want to tape it off really tight, because if you don't, the line, when you cut it, is going to fray, and then you're never going to get it into those fittings. So you want to do a couple wraps. Don't forget to put on them safety goggles. You don't want to get a wire in your eye. That happened before. You can see why you want to use the electrical tape on there, because it was starting to want to fray a little bit, but if you didn't have that, it would be a giant poof of mess. And you got it on both sides, so it'll make it a lot easier to shove it in those fittings. And I'm going to show you how to shove it in the fittings. Using steel braid is a lot harder than using the vinyl, or not vinyl, but the materialistic threaded braid. We're going to take the first fitting, which is the oil pan fitting, and you want to take off the end. Alright, now I usually put a little bit of, you know, maybe just a little bit of oil or water or something, because rubber and metal is just going to grip. It's not going to go nowhere. So let me get a little dab of oil. There we go. I like to do it all the way on the threads and everything, because it's got to slide all the way up there. Now we're going to take this part, do the same thing, put a little bit of oil on there, put it inside the hose. So I finally got it all the way in. Just pull it out. If you can see right here, you see how it's all the way at the top, right before the threads. So that's good. Got the last one done. Back it out. And you see it's all the way right before the threads. So let me show you. This is what it looks like. All this sweat. So it's gonna take a little bit of muscle. For the next fun part, we gotta oil up this fitting and put a little oil in the hole. Just put a dab right here. And this will prevent it from jamming or anything. We're gonna stick it in just like this, and you might have to do a little bit of squiggly to get it in there. There we go. And you're gonna want to put this on a vise. First, hand start it. And I got it in the vise, and I'm gonna throw a rag over this fitting just so I don't scratch it all up. And you want to keep the rag behind it because you don't want it to pinch it shut. But actually, I'm probably just not gonna use a rag because it'll give me too much problems. So this is going under the car anyway. Alright, there we go. We're just going to go around until we get all the way to the bottom. There we go. No scrapes, it still spins so you can adjust it. And that one's all done. So I'm getting ready to put the turbo in here with the return line so I can see how it fits. Alright, now I got to tighten up one of my bolts just to get it in a good spot, and then I gotta adjust the lines. Come under here and everything should bolt up pretty nicely. Not too bad, huh? It's got a nice smooth downward flow. Just a slight bend. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this one in. I gotta put some RTV on it and tighten it in, and then it looks like we got ourselves a really nice setup. Here's what it looks like installed. Came out pretty nice. All the way up there. It's got a real nice slope to it. I'll come all the way out here, you guys can see. See how it just drops really good. That's what you want. You don't want any kind of bends or anything. I can even kind of turn it a little bit downward and get this little squiggly out if I want. But other than that, it came out really nice. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go ahead, comment, like, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my Facebook page, website, and Android app. All that can be found on my YouTube channel in the About Me section. I'm in the fast lane, and I'll see you guys next time.